Hey everyone, it's Mad along with Pretty, and today we're finally going to go over probably what everyone's been waiting for, the fiercest badass Rozalin and Valvatorez banner. And kind of have an honest talk on, is this the best banner for you to be summoning on, or as on other videos, should you do a support unit instead? Stay tuned. All right, let's start with Tyrant Valvatorez, who is actually the first unit on the banner and actually already a repeat. And if we follow the Japan version, even with it being sped up, we should expect to see Tyrant Valvatorez every 5 to 6 weeks, maybe a little later. But it's going to come back in many other overtones. So don't worry too much if you don't quite get him right off the bat, as there will be other opportunities to get him. So just going through and just going to be flat out, he is an incredibly powerful attacker, spear-based humanoid or demonoid male. Basically, you're going to pull and just going to kind of be honest, you really want one or two of these units. That's the demonoid unit here. Very high attack power, okay defense, poor intelligence resistance. Speed is good at 51 overall as well, and pretty good HP. Now, Tyrant Valvatorez of the super strong attackers, this might be actually the weakest attacker because of his choice of weapon, which is spear, but he is actually the most survivable tank because he tends to heal himself back up and can do a lot of things overall. So personally, I like him the most just because he might not have the greatest damage and he doesn't quite have the benefit that some other of the double S units have. But he is a wonderful, heavy, attacking and self-sustaining unit that can go really deep, even if you might not be quite leveled the way that you should be. As I say, his main weapon is spear, and in all honesty, if you don't have any +5, you might be okay going to sword, but if you get him to any +5 and beyond, he's just becomes too powerful with the spear. So his main evility is spear wielding allies, all stats except speed +15%. It is a very high buff for all stats. This is what you normally see for just attack only. The main catch is it's spear wielding allies only, and really the only spear allies that we really have that are 4 stars are Etnas, and we won't see a great deal more spears down the line. So this is going to be primarily for him, and maybe if you're using Majin Etna as well. Maybe some of your support units, if you were going to bring support units like an Awakened Rozalin. I know she's better with a bow, but if you want to have her stats up with that as well with the spears, that might be fine. But the support units you're going to bring along with Valvatorez won't be able to use his main evility unless if you sacrifice some of their own skills as well. His second skill, or evility, is probably the most important one, at least in my mind, and this is what makes him so powerful, is that the assimilation, he gets healed 18% if an enemy is down when a turn ends. So basically, if you can defeat one enemy, he will heal himself up by 18%. This is where his self-sustain becomes really, really powerful. So when you take down an enemy, he just goes right back up. So even him go, oh no, he's down 1v3. And actually you'll see he's also got a really nice AoE on top of it. But just besides that, when he will heal himself up 18%, even if you don't have the SP needed for that AoE, and he can stay alive long enough so that he can do the AoE and finish off a round if need be. His fifth skill, I think, is what really sets him apart. Is his SP cost minus 15 by himself. This really, and let me go down to the skills here too. This makes his AoE very inexpensive, and almost guaranteeing himself to be able to do it almost every turn. And if you can just get him a mana battery, or even something that just gives him just a little bit, he just can use his Tyrant Sweep, and with his pure strength, that AoE is incredibly strong. Speaking of strength, if a enemy is downed, he gets a 2-turn self-attack plus 40 at any plus 7, and this just makes him even more powerful. He heals when an enemy goes down. He gets his attack buff way up when an enemy goes down, and it is just straight out devastating. Very, very top tier unit. Tyrant Sweep is his first skill, as I say. I love the cheap AoE SP. Getting it down to 20, his attack is incredibly high. Basically, he is similar to what Disgaea is to monster unit teams, except he's much stronger overall than Disgaea. Disgaea tends to be a little bit weaker, but the one thing I like Disgaea over Tyrant Valvatorez is that you can build her with a lot of support units that really buff her up and actually makes her stronger than Tyrant Valvatorez. So this is a team building idea, but Valvatorez is much stronger as a single unit. His second skill is Blood Sting, so if his SP is 55, he gets medium healing. This skill is a very powerful attack, especially when he also absorbs HP along with it. I don't think it's nearly as needed, because if you're going to get Tyrant Valvatorez, you are going to printing him to at least any +1. And the Tyrant Sweep should knock down an enemy, and if it doesn't, then you're probably fighting an enemy way too strong for you. And will heal himself anyways, so the level 200 skill is a very powerful skill. It's an A to A+ skill, so it does a lot of damage. But it's not really as needed, and it is really expensive at 55. You're going to use this for the damage and not for the healing aspect. But if you do have the NE5, the SP cost is minus 15. And you're talking into the 40s at this point, around when you've got it all the way down, it should be 47, I believe. And 47 is still roughly 4 full turns for you to get it up without another SP battery to go along with it. If you do have an SP battery, then you might be able to do it every 2 to 2.5 or 3 turns and do it. So getting an SP battery would be very, very helpful. And Rozalin, who we'll talk about just a little bit later, can be an initial battery, but it's not something that's very self-sustaining unless if you're going round by round by round for battles. His NE+3 Emperor Flugund is action gauge minus 250. It's very expensive at 85. Once again, if he's equipped with spear, though, it goes down to around 75, which is still pretty expensive. But what's interesting, it's star-based attack, so if you really need an element, he has star. His magic spells are wind as well. He has the ability to do Braveheart to himself and Mega Braveheart if you want as well. For magic, honestly, maybe you want to have Braveheart on him, but I don't see him going too far. But it is a pretty nice magic set for him as well, as he can really increase his own attack as well. And the parameters here, you do get a little bit higher parameters, +2 and +6, than what you do for the normal skills. So he gets up to a +120 instead of the normal +100, so that's why his stats do get a little higher than some of the others. Even with the weaker intelligence and resistance, he's still average for that, and his attack is incredibly high. As I say, the one thing is, yes, these stats do get high, but with spears, they are split a bit with defense as well for your attack. So it just adds more to him being a very strong attacker that also does self-sustaining and can keep himself alive from defense. From magic attacks, he can be defeated just because spears generally don't offer as much protection as you would like. And as I say, with his attack and defense, physical attacks, though, he is very, very strong and can keep himself alive for a very long time. Overall, he is a top tier unit, but honestly, the one downfall that I see, and really two downfalls that I see, is really to unleash his full potential, you need to have a spear equipped to him. And you go, well, man, really? How much do I care about this SP cost minus 15%? It's strong enough, along with additional 15% boost with the spear, that you will see a large decrease if you bring him to a sword. Yeah, you can sword, then you can give him mana battery. You can really start fooling around maybe with teams. Like I might actually, if I get a Tyrant Valvatorez, and I'm not even sure I'm going to pull on this banner or not, to be honest with everyone. I might equip him with the sword, have my Yuki with him, and that would be a sword battery. Allow him, at that point, I don't care about the SP cost minus 15, and only get him to any +1. And at that point, I can bring some other benefits there to kind of counteract it. So once again, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with him. Am I going to keep him with spears and go to any +7, or am I just going to go to really any +2 to get his 40% boosts at this point and stick with him with a sword? Kind of depends right now on who am I going to try to buff up. I am currently building a sword team and a monster team. So at this point, this is where I would slot him in my own viewpoint here. But once again, it depends if you're willing to do a spear team or just have him there and build everyone else around him with general boosts. And for the most part, only attack is really needed to help him boost up, and maybe a overall battery, or maybe with his speed being a little bit slow at 51 here, what you can do is you can add another like a New Year's Rozalin on top of it as well. That will give him a little bit of boost so he can attack before most of the other monsters will attack, and boost him through that. So what Valvatorez is and always will be is that he is going to be the main attacker. You want to build a team around him. And so if you've already got a very large attacker and you have a good team around them, I'm not sure how much Valvatorez would really help you. If you don't have a top tier attacker. So, Killia is an interesting one that can actually turn into a really powerful attacker. Then maybe, you'd be okay. But the one thing I do really like about him is that he can be a very strong attacker, and his first skill is a cheap AoE that he can do a lot of damage with. So this is, to me, what I think he could be really, really useful for a lot of people. But you need to make sure that you can build a team around him, otherwise you will be very disappointed. This isn't one of those units that, we're going to be able to grab all this and go. Instead, this is a unit that you need to have a team around him for him to really, really shine. But if you do, he is incredibly powerful. So, let's go now to our other unit. Alright, our other unit is Awakened Rozalin. She is a gun, demonoid, female. Very interesting, very high attack and intelligence, and average defense and resistance. Her speed is very good at 56. From a unit overall, very, very powerful. She is a gun wielder with wand, and you are going to level up both of her skills. But the main thing that she does, you will generally equip her with is a gun, and you're just going to try to level up some of her magic as well, just for your own benefit down the line. Her main evil T is gun wielding allies get all stats but speed plus 15%, just like Valvatorez, except for guns. It says spears. And there's a few more gun units that you can bring along with you to help boost her up compared to Valvatorez, whose weapon's a little odd right now still for us to try and boost up. Her first one, Force of Calamity. All allies get plus 15 SP when the battle begins. This will allow units with cheap AoEs to be able to span it a little bit more. As long as you don't have super long units, it will be there. The other ones are Disturbed Slumber. At E plus 5, when she's equipped with a gun, damage is dealt plus 50%. And Solidary Being is the other one here, where basically it's all enemies' attack, defense, intelligence, and resistance are minus 10. And this is very, very, very good overall skill. Allows her to do a lot of the stuff that she will do. And anyone else that has a log with it. And A, keeps her alive longer, and B, makes them easier to kill overall. Rose Thorns is her first skill. It's a single and also boosts herself, where it deals some wind attack damage, and it's attack, unlike some of the... and she gives herself 5% speed. The second one is Rosecrest Plus. Similar here, it's 55 SP, and also has defense minus 13%. The third one is Mortal Liberate. Torrent X Engage gives her 500 and gives 85 to 100% attack and intelligence overall. And this is kind of a very interesting skill. It's cheap, but it doesn't do any damage, and it kind of pushes her up longer, so it allows you to boost her partial way through to the next turn, and then her next attack can be doubled in strength. So basically what it's really used for is that you save up. So, depending on the team that you use, let's assume both Rosecrest and Mortal Liberati are at the lowest SP cost. You need to save up approximately, so when you cast Mortal Liberati, you want to have 45 additional or 70 SP total. And what you do then is cast Rosecrest, which will then absolutely destroy, and you can basically cast Rosecrest twice in the same turn. Or another one of the skills. And I have them posted here from her gun, because really, Disturbed Slumber, self when equipped with gun, damage dealt plus 50%. This is where her power really it gets multiplied. So at that point, you're talking 400% damage. You're doing lots of damage with her. She is a boss killer. The one thing, though, that I do not like about Awakened Rozalin here is that if you look at the gun skills, because you can see she does not have any AoE until 85 SP, Karma Liberate, which allows her to, it's just, and that's still just party, and for yours, you get the attack 30, intelligence 30, and you get a C plus AoE against another unit. All wind based, which is fine. That's not what I'm so worried about. For her, though, her cheapest AoE is going to be basically Shotgun Craft, which is gun skill level 15. And it's still 40 SP. So you're only really going to be able to use her as a sort of like a Laharl type unit. Except she's much more powerful than Laharl. let me at least catch that straight first. But Laharl and this, where basically the AoE you're only going to be able to use as long as you can mana battery or SP battery her up. And then at that point, you really need to speed tune your team as well. So her main weakness is that for her attack, she doesn't have very good skills. But for her magic, this is where you're going to go, all right, remember, if she's equipped with a gun, all damage dealt is 50%. And remember, her intelligence is also on par, slightly less, which is really, really weird. It's just 150 out of 12 million less. And it's just because of this starting. She starts at 42 attack and 41 intelligence, but whatever. You're really going to try to use her as a magic user as well, which means that the weapon that you have is not going to really help you with the AoE. Now you can argue 35 versus 40 here, and it's an F plus versus an F, so the damage will probably be somewhat similar. And Shotgun Craft is a fire. She has, this will be wind, so if you use a gun on her, which is really where her strength is very strong, then you're going to go through here. The really powerful magic skill, though, here is E. You could get it down to 45. The E here for the attack is 65. It does give you speed -5, where this one is just pure damage. And her gun is unelemental there, where her magic is always going to be wind-based. So she's a unit where you both have to level up her magic and her attack to truly get the most out of her. What you're going to really do is just going to auto most of the part with that. Then you need to choose between magic or your physical. If you're okay with just going with the physical with the Shotgun Craft at 40, then you can kind of ignore her magic. But the challenge with her is she kind of needs to do both. And the Mega Wind and Giga Wind is really her most powerful skills to use. Where the guns here are fine and dandy. It's just, it does take a little while either way to get her to get the AoE to truly awaken her. Her nether enhancements are just like awakened Valvatorez as well, Tyrant Valvatorez, sorry, where it gets up to 120 instead of 100%. And even if you are just wanting to +1 her and use her as a initial mana battery and then just a strong gun wielder as well, you still want to really get her to +2 to get the 40%. That's a very high increase. Once again, both of these units, you need to be careful. These are designed to be your main attack units instead of being support. And so in this game, you really want to focus on one and at most two, and that second unit better actually be giving support to everybody as well. Otherwise, you're not really optimizing your team. So these are very powerful attack units, but you need to be able to build a team around both of them. So same thing with Tyrant Valvatorez. Awakened Rozalin is the centerpiece of a team, and the real question is if you've already got a centerpiece, and really you should at some point down the line, and if you're playing this casually, then just focus on one team. And if you've got one team already that you're kind of starting with, then go right ahead and ignore this banner and go pull on the Usalia banner if you're going for a monster team. And if not, save your resources for other banners that could be helpful. But if you're trying to build a gun team or a spear team, then this is a good banner to pull on. But you need to be willing to build the team around them. Otherwise, you will be incredibly disappointed. So that's kind of all I've got for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be trying to go through everything as I can throughout the next time we get an update here, but basically covered all of the updates through to the middle of June. Next is going to be hopefully some more units that are going to be good for team building. We've kind of already gotten a lot of damage dealers, and we need to kind of get some more support units at this point. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give a like and subscribe to this channel. On top of this as well, you can also visit me on twitch.tv/Madgarou, and I've also got patreon.com/Madgarou as well. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you enjoyed some of the real talk too, where I know these are really powerful units, but just make sure that you guys really need an attack unit for this banner and not a support unit like what I think most people do need. So I guys hope you enjoy. Good luck, and if you do go for this banner, I hope you guys get what you're looking for. Bye everyone.